Hello, it is a Wednesday. It is great to be here. We are live in Los Angeles. It's the Herd, wherever you may be, however you may be listening. iHeartRadio, Fox Sports Radio, FS1. Nick Wright stops by today. It is great to be here. A lot of energy. Caught up on my jet lag. Took a sleeping pill. Jimmy Butler was fantastic. And Joy Taylor's feeling it today.
Well, you know, I don't like to brag, but...
Well, we all like to a little.
Well, listen, they won game one at home. That's what you're supposed to do.
Exactly.
I will say Jimmy Butler is not getting his due for being the star, the amazing two-way player that he is.
Many believe that.
I mean, he consistently puts up 40-point nights, and it's very casual, and I think he deserves his flowers.
All right, there you go. So it was hard for me to watch last night and definitively say, yeah, that's what the series will look like. It's hard. Boston was missing two valuable players. One, they found out minutes before tip-off. They had 3 fewer days rest. They just got through a grueling physical series with big, strong Milwaukee with a lot of front court guys. They were on the road. And they were also missing Al Horford. Lowry was missing for Miami, but Horford was so good against Milwaukee. In my opinion, Boston ran out of gas. They led by 8, played a perfect first half. And then in the third quarter, it wasn't just bad. It was the worst quarter of the Celtics in the season. That was the worst shooting performance all year for Boston in the third quarter. Is it a coincidence it comes in game one on the road after the Milwaukee series? Jason Tatum had 6 turnovers in the third quarter alone, the most he's ever had in a quarter. I thought the Celtics were flawless in the first half, but as I watched it, I thought, they're not going to keep this up. They just banged bodies with a big physical team in Milwaukee. And I'll double down on my prediction. I don't feel great about it because I don't think we have a great team left. I think Boston wins the series eventually because over 6 or 7 games, they'll get more quality shots. Was Jimmy Butler great? Well, his nickname is Jimmy Buckets and Playoff Jimmy. I think I read a stat last night where he scored 40 points like 6 times in his career and 5 have been in the playoffs. But game ones in the playoffs have always been really tricky because game one of a playoff series is the only game in a playoff series where teams aren't equally rested. I mean, LeBron for years would sweep the first round and sit around for a week and a half waiting for the poor Toronto Raptors to move into town and get beat by him. Last night, Miami was rested. They're at home. They were ready to go. And Boston looked tired and was outscored 39-14 in the third quarter. And it was not just the way Miami played. It was that they all had energy. Jimmy Butler, second half energy. Bam Adebayo, second half energy. P.J. Tucker, second half energy. When you have extra days off, what happens? You usually are a little off kilter in the first half. Miami felt off kilter. They hadn't played in a while. In the NBA, you're playing every other night. Boston looked really good in the first half because they just got out of a series. They were in tune, and it was a little like a boxing match. Boston found out before the start of the game, we're missing 2 starters, so they went for the howitzer. They went for the knockout early. Miami weathered it, and by the third quarter, Boston was shot. Jason Tatum was a mess. So there are excuses in life. Dog ate my homework. And then there are reasons in life. Yeah, the bus broke down. That's why I'm late to school. Here's Jaylen Brown afterwards.
We definitely wasn't prepared to be without Al and Smart. So it's not an excuse. We got to be better. We still had control of the game in the first half. We lost control in the third quarter in a little bit. And we just got to be better. Got to play better on both sides of the ball. More discipline. We foul entirely too much. And we let the game slip away from us.
There you go. Not an excuse. There are reasons. Still like Boston in the series. There are no great teams left. You'll watch 2 other teams tonight, the Dallas Mavericks and the Warriors. They're not great either. They just have some great players. We'll talk more about Jimmy Butler in a moment. So I thought this was a big story. I thought this story is worthy of our first segment. The U.S. Soccer Federation did something that was very historic yesterday. Women's and men's national team unions agreed to a collective bargaining agreement, and they will pay each the same. Now, a lot of it is, contractual stuff. It would all bore you. But it made me think about something this morning. You know, my wife says this. We have 6 kids between us. And she says this, and I always think it's just such a great line. She says, I don't love my kids equally. I love my kids uniquely because they're all different little human beings. And there are certain words out there that normal. What is normal? Equal. What is equal? I have a podcast network. It's called The Volume. I have men, I have women. Some are young, some are experienced, some less so. There's podcasters and editors and executives. I don't pay everybody equally. I couldn't afford my company if I had to pay everybody as much as I pay Draymond Green. He's my rock star. But the Olympics and the World Cup are a different business. Not only are they a showcase of our global talent, but they've got big corporations called the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, or in soccer, FIFA. Money's never an issue. In fact, they make more money than we probably know and give it to people they probably shouldn't. Bribes are often considered part of landing a World Cup or the Olympics. Money's not an issue. What is an issue, though, is with all that money they make, how do you spend it? And I've always thought the World Cup and the Olympics are different. We're not only representing our country, but we're representing, to me, ideals. I'll give you an example. My entire life, Russia has cheated at virtually everything. They're okay with it. That's what they stand for. And that's why the world doesn't like Russia. We don't think they're good people. I'm not saying all Russians are bad people, but their leadership is doing bad things right now. So therefore, they're comfortable with that. And in my experience of watching the Olympics, even when they win, I think they're on the take. I don't have the men's and women's revenues in front of me right now. Money's not an issue at the World Cup. Money's not an issue at the Olympics. How you spend it is. Our women have been globally dominant as long as I can remember. Now, I am older and my memory's not as good, but as long as I remember, our women have been globally dominant. Our men have been, as long as I remember, how do I put this nicely? Globally challenged. They couldn't qualify for the last World Cup. If our World Cup teams, and I was thinking about this driving in this morning, if our World Cup teams are a representation of us, collective, us as men, us as women, equally. Equal's a weird word. My wife doesn't love our kids equally. What are you saying? I love them uniquely. All right. And that's how I run my podcast business. Uniquely. But that's not what the Olympics are about. That's not what we're about. Symbolism matters. What our allies see, what the world thinks of us. And by the way, we make a lot of mistakes. I am not saying Russia all bad, we all good. But in this instance, I don't want to hear about revenue. Revenue's not the issue for the Soccer Federation. Okay, they're not discount shopping. Nobody's at Walmart here, right? It's how you spend the huge revenue you have. It's the right thing to do and the right time to do it. All right, there you go. So I know you think I'm making a lot of excuses for the Boston Celtics. And I've said this before, I compared them to yogurt the other day, where they always brag about their consistency. And my takeaway is I had 3 yogurts in the last 2 weeks, and they're all consistent. But that doesn't mean it was the greatest thing I even had until I ate lunch. But I did think last night, you have to be fair. The first games of playoff series can be really tricky. One team has less of a series, one team's at home, another team goes 7 games against a physical team, is on the road, finds out before tip-off they're missing the NBA's best defensive player who would have helped guard Jimmy Butler. That's why Butler goes off, has better energy at home. So I do think Boston wins game 2. I'm putting it out there. All right, a lot of things today. Nick Wright stops by. Now, Nick Wright is, he's really been on this Dallas Mavericks thing. Nick generally not terribly humble when he ends up on the right side of things, so we'll have to address that. I would imagine he's going to pick Dallas over Golden State. Buy or sell a car from your happy place at driveway.com. Now, I don't know what your happy place is. Is it a sofa? Is it at home with the unlimited nachos? Is it on the morning, on the first tee, crisp morning? My happy place is right here talking to you, America. With one of the largest selections of new and used cars available, driveway.com lets you browse, finance, purchase, wherever, whenever, however it makes you happy. Buy or sell a car from your happy place today at driveway.com. If you're looking to sell it, Driveway makes selling your car simple. They offer an instant, competitive offer. It's on their website. You decide to take it, Driveway comes to your driveway and pick it up. All starts from your happy place, whatever that is. Buy or sell a car.